The Brew House was created to capture and share with you the long history of the Genesee Brewery, but the brewery itself isn't half as interesting as the beer and the people who make it. Visit GeneseeBrewHouse.com.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us here at the Genesee Brew House. This is the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brew House. Nate Rowan back with us from the Rochester Red Wings front office. Good to have you. Talk a little baseball.
Thanks for having me.
And Pat Duffy in a baseball uniform.
Well, yeah, in honor of Nate and to fight off all of these big money pitchers that showed up this week, the classic Joe Carter Blue Jays 1992 batting jersey.
This is the week that Gerrit Cole signed with the New York Yankees. Find the bad side of this deal.
$36 million a year. I don't know if any player is necessarily worth that, but that's what the market called for, and that's what he got paid. The end of these contracts are always problematic, no matter who signs them, because of how old they are when they sign them.
So it's a 9-year deal, and he's 29 when he signs it.
The thing for the Yankees that's more concerning, in my opinion, is they now have $62 million committed alone this year to two players, Giancarlo Stanton and Gerrit Cole. They have those guys locked up for another 9 years. You have Aaron Judge, Gleyber Torres, other young players who are going to require contracts. Where's that money going to come from? That to me is concerning, because two players cannot make a baseball team.
And where does the luxury tax fit in? Like, where do they wind up?
They're like $80 million over already for this season. That's a lot. That's a lot of money. When teams are trying to stay under it, when the Red Sox last year, after a World Series title, cut payroll to get under that luxury tax, the Yankees are saying, we're going to go for it, and we don't care what it costs.
What do you think of the deal?
Well, I do find it interesting that the Yankees waited all of 5 minutes to try and use this homegrown talent thing that they were going to do, right? I mean, listen, I'll use this statistic because I've been reading, for the last couple of days. I can't believe baseball players are worth this money and the Yankees would risk this much. In 1979, Nolan Ryan signed the first contract worth $1 million a year in Major League Baseball. Earlier this week, you had the first two pitchers in Major League Baseball that will be paid over $1 million a start. We sit here with our jaws open. How is anyone worth this much? We've been saying that every single year in professional sports since 1975 when these unions finally got strong. What's it going to look like 20 years from now? I'm not shocked by it anymore. The money isn't even real to me anymore. It's just monopoly money. The Yankees did their thing. It's probably going to be successful in the first couple of years, and then you see what happens after that, right? I mean, there's no guarantee that this is going to work for them. And it would be great if they spent all this money and fell on their stupid faces. That'd be fantastic, right?
Fantastic. So look, you mentioned the union. So Marvin Miller got voted in, right?
Yeah, he did.
So Marvin Miller gets voted in the Hall of Fame. This was a situation that I thought I would never live to see, where the luxury tax has created a de facto salary cap in Major League Baseball. Most of these teams are trying to stay under a certain number, and it's had the effect that you've seen in basketball and football.
Well, I've told you many times in the press box at Frontier Field that I would prefer a floor. Force teams to spend a certain percentage of the revenue from the previous year, because some of these teams are just pocketing the money. You take a look at the Tampa Bay Rays. They don't spend money. They're not making as much as the Yankees, but they're pocketing plenty of money.
And they're winning. That's like a magic.
Last year, their entire season payroll was $64 million. This next year, if Cole's first year of his contract is $36 million a year, the Yankees will pay two players $62 million.
And Tampa wins.
And they win because...
And that's why the Red Sox hired a guy out of their front office.
And what I think the pitching market has proven with Strasburg signing with the Nationals this week as well as Cole is that if you want to be a successful organization and have sustained success, you have to draft and develop pitching. Because if you have pitching, you can trade, you can, benefit from those young pitchers. Once they get to free agency, half the teams in baseball can no longer afford what these guys cost.
Is this good for baseball? The Yankees have put together like old school super team, and everyone's going to know these guys. Is this good or bad for the game, do you think?
It's bad for baseball because of what Nate was just talking about, right? You're now at a point, with the Rays being the glaring exception, where you have teams in the Midwest and small market cities that are going to compete once every 20 years when you catch lightning in a bottle and your prospects all line up at the exact same time. So if you're Pittsburgh's and your Milwaukee's and fans of teams like that have no problem sitting around for 18 years waiting for a pennant run, It's okay. I mean, that's fine, but I don't think fans are going to be okay with that. And you talk about how important it is, baseball being a regional sport. Well, if it's a regional sport and my team is not having a chance to compete on a yearly basis, I would think that would hurt the game.
This is the Rochester Press Box from the Genesee Brew House. We talk Buffalo Bills next.
The Press Box is brought to you in part by Bay & Goodman Pizza, a local Rochester favorite. Corner of North Winton and Browncroft, Bay & Goodman Pizza.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. This is the Rochester Press Box from Genesee Brew House. So the Bills are hot stuff these days. They get flexed into prime time against the Steelers this week.
I'm going to puke. I'm so nervous about this game. I hate Bills primetime games. And listen, the way that they played against Dallas on Thanksgiving makes it a little bit better, but they're, if I'm not mistaken, 2-point dogs as we tape this in Pittsburgh. This game, it's win and you're in. You win and you're in. And this was going to be the game. It's not divisional like the Jets the last game of the season. It's not going to Foxborough, which is an impossible task. This would have been just a regular ho-hum game against a team that you are better than. And the NFL...
Do you think it makes it tougher?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, going on the road in that environment, playing on national television, I think it 100% makes it tougher. Not to mention, you're coming off of a game where the Ravens did nothing but blitz the heck out of your rookie second-year quarterback, and he couldn't handle it. Well, this Steelers defense might be just as good, if not better, than this Ravens defense. So again, I'm going to puke.
First thing I thought of when I saw, especially when the line came out, is that this is the classic case of the national perception that the Pittsburgh Steelers have an identity that the Bills don't. Buffalo is a much better team than the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And the number says that actually, if they played on a neutral field, that Buffalo would be the favorite because
by one.
But I mean, still a favorite. I mean,
I think they're considerably better than that.
I would agree, and I think that Pittsburgh's quarterback is really unproven. I think Hodges. There's still a lot of unknowns. There's still a lot of unknowns about him. I mean, when they traded for Minkah Fitzpatrick early on in the season, when Roethlisberger got hurt, people said, they got to use that first-round pick on a quarterback. They're going to be so bad. The Steelers knew that their defense and their special teams were awesome. Their offense is not any good. This game has the slugfest defensive struggle where 1 or 2 turnovers here or there could make the difference. And Buffalo is set up really well because I think their defense matches up really well with the Steelers' offense.
As of right now, you would be right. There's a small wrinkle in this game that just showed up. Juju Smith-Schuster, the wide receiver, who's not having a great season, but he's dangerous, and running back James Conner, both practicing for the first time in a few weeks this week. Both of them could play on Sunday night, which would be a huge boost to that Steelers team. And you say this Bills team is much better. The Steelers are a game back of the Bills right now. And it's not like they've played the schedule that Buffalo's played. I still think Buffalo can handle business. They are a better team. I think I can't even say they're a better coach, though, because the job that Tomlin has done this season with what he's had at his fingertips is really impressive. I'm going to.
That makes you think that Pittsburgh isn't all that good because everyone's praising Tomlin and saying, boy, you did all this with that.
You got a terrible performance out of Mason Rudolph and a guy named Duck, who was on your practice squad at the beginning of the season, has a chance to get you into the playoffs if you win a single game on Sunday night. I don't like the way this is all lined up, the way that it has to be.
I'm looking forward to it because in an age where everybody's scoring points, the Ravens score a ton of points. The Bills did a good job last week against Lamar Jackson. The Niners and Saints got together and scored over 90 combined points. This game has like a 13-10, 17-13 type of feel to it. And for Bills fans that have to watch a close, agonizing game, it's on national TV. It's gonna ruin their Monday if it doesn't go well.
Field. Hey, let me go back to Baltimore. I came away from that game feeling feeling pretty good about what Buffalo did. Yeah, thinking that even just a mediocre offensive effort could have resulted in a win.
Mediocre's being kind. I mean, that might have been Josh Allen's worst game as a pro football player.
If they have been able to reach into mediocre.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yes, you're 18 yards away despite all of the things that happened that game from tying that game up against Baltimore. And you showed that you could take the most dangerous offense in the NFL and essentially shut it down with the exception of 2 big chunk plays. I don't know, but I think we're past the point of moral victories now, aren't we?
Oh, geez, yes.
I mean, listen, I think that if they play again in the playoffs, and I've been saying this for the last 2 weeks, Buffalo is able to get that game. But I really would have liked to have it on Sunday.
Yeah. Pick this week's?
Again, still nauseous, but I think that Buffalo, because of what's on the line, because of the narrative all season, the lack of respect they've been getting, and they haven't lost 2 in a row all season long, I think Buffalo finds a way to win it Sunday night.
Nate?
Same. I got Buffalo. I just think 17-13 type of game is, and I think Allen has to play better than he played last week. I mean, that's just and if you feel like he's going to after the performance he had last week, and the fact that they played on Thanksgiving on national TV, I think it helps.
I think one of the teams that they played, because I think about it, that game, the Baltimore game and the New England game, the 2 worst he played, and probably 2 of the better defenses he's seen.
Oh, I think it's law. I mean, listen, you're right. You're playing one of the, if you are standing next to the most handsome guy on the planet, you're going to look ugly. I mean, we're not good looking to begin with, Phil, but yes, he's playing a great defense. Those two, yeah, you're going to struggle. We'll see how good the Steelers defense is Sunday night.
Yeah, we are the Rochester Press Box from the Genesee Brew House. Like it or not. Like it or not.
Here's the Press Box trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Here's the Press Box trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Welcome back. We are the Rochester Press Box from the Genesee Brew House. Like it or not, Le'Veon Bell rolled a 251 bowling the day before he calls in sick for the Jets football game.
I like it because because I'm a bowler. I'm a bowler.
Of course you're a bowler.
No, 251's hard. What's the highest you've ever gotten?
Bro,
bowling?
like 80? I can't bowl, but you are bowling guys.
Yeah.
Always happy, wearing a tie, bowling guy.
It really doesn't surprise us.
No, I mean, I think that Mookie Betts, you love the Red Sox. Mookie Betts is an awesome bowler. And I think people just think you can walk up there and put up big scores. Bowling is difficult. So the 251 is impressive.
With a flu, too. That's like the Jordan game of bowling.
But this looks bad, doesn't it?
Does it look anything worse than what's happened with the Jets this season? You got players filing multiple lawsuits that their doctors aren't handling their injuries well. You have a quarterback that is mono who gets caught on a microphone he's saying ghosts. You have the head coach who is referring to the franchise quarterback as his number, not by his name, yet referring to the third-string quarterback by his name. It's a disaster. Gase was a terrible hire, and he's already got the vote of confidence for next season. It could not be worse than it is right now in New York, and I'm loving every second of it. That being said, I know we play them the last night of the season, and yes, I'm nauseous about that too.
Is Le'Veon Bell a Jet next year?
How you move him? You going to cut him? You're going to eat all that guaranteed money? Who's going to pick up that contract? He's having statistically the worst season for a big money free agent in NFL history. Wow. So yes, he is.
Like it or not, Spygate 2, that's what I could call it.
Are we surprised?
The Patriots videotaping in the press box.
Are we surprised by this? I will say this. We've talked about this on the break room on CMF a couple of times this week, and we get the same calls from these guys. Oh, everybody cheats and just get over it, man. It's fine. So you have a team, the only team that's
All your listeners sound like that.
This is the only team that's been caught doing this once, let alone multiple times. The hook for the head coach that they have is, wow, he always seems to know what the other team is about to do, which would be kind of the benefit of having this thing, right? Find me another team that has been caught in a scandal, let alone multiple scandals to this level in the last 25 years. They've been doing it the whole time. It's obvious what the benefit would be, and just, there's nothing you can do about it. It's over, so
But common sense tells you, first, it's the Bengals. The guy is decked out in Boston gear. He's in the middle of the press box, as conspicuous as can be.
Okay.
I mean, do you find and punish the Patriots for essentially, to me, just being really stupid?
Wow, the guy from Boston looking to come up with an excuse. He had 8 minutes of sideline footage. You need 8. You've worked in TV. Have you ever gotten 8 minutes of B-roll of the exact same thing?
Not intentionally.
Guilty.
All right. We are the Rochester Press Box from the Genesee Brew House. Unfinished Business is next.
And now here's this week's MVP Experience Stat of the Week, brought to you by Sport Clips, where it's good to be a guy. No appointment ever needed.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
And we talk about the hot takes. We talked about media. We talk about the way everyone reacts to everything. And I always say at work, everything is a thing now. I think the Bills need to have blinders on. And I think they do. And I'm talking management-wise, and I'm talking about Josh Allen. I put out a tweet this week. I just said the timeline for Bills fans. I basically said they like Allen, then they start getting worried about him, then they're panicked they're going to get him, then they're mad they got him. Then they start looking at Allen and seeing some video, and he looks pretty good. And then by training camp, there'll be people watching him when he looks good, screaming that he should be the starter. Brandon Beane, Sean McDermott, blinders on. You have a prize here. You have a talent. You have to treat him the right way. When he's ready, let him play. Until he's ready, don't worry about anything else. Don't worry if AJ's not completing passes. Don't worry if you're not winning football games. You play Josh Allen when Josh Allen is ready, and that gives him a chance to succeed.
Everything is a thing now. Words to live by.
It is, isn't it not?
I know you're not supposed to look straight at it, but...
Man, it looks delicious.
Get ready for a whole new way to start the day. Introducing the great-tasting, plant-based Beyond Sausage Sandwich. Only at Dunkin'.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. We are the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House. We're at the Brew House. Unfinished Business, presented by Dunkin'. America runs on Dunkin'. Pat.
Do yourself a favor and watch a Sabres game. It's been a roller coaster season so far. You got come out of the gate hot, you hit this rut, and now they're about playing 500 hockey again. They're in the playoffs right now, and they're sitting pretty good. But there's someone you need to watch specifically. Jack freaking Eichel. As we tape this game right now, or as we tape the show right now, he's a few games away from the Sabres record for consecutive games with points, and he's doing it with multiple points almost every other night. At this moment right now, and I watch a lot of hockey, Jack Eichel is the most valuable player in the NHL, and there's no debate about it. If you want to see how dominant a hockey player can be, taking over a game, you go watch a Sabres game right now. Listen, there's a talent issue in Buffalo. The bottom six is having a hard time scoring points, but it doesn't matter because in the last 5 minutes, when Jack Eichel has that puck on his stick, anything can happen. And I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like a 10-year-old kid watching hockey players that I thought were gods play again. The only difference is I'm starting to lose hair, I'm a little bit heavier, and this guy is like 10 years younger than me. Do yourself a favor. Enjoy the best hockey you've seen in a long time in Buffalo with number 9.
Remember the BCS? Remember how stupid it was that a computer system determined our college football champions and the national title game? Well, 4 teams are in the playoff this year. 3 of them are undefeated. With that BCS system, only 2 of them would have got in. You can make your case for Clemson, Ohio State, or LSU to be number 1. But the point is that all 4, including Oklahoma, now have a chance to win the national championship. People that want to expand it to 8 teams, the 4 teams works out fine. As we saw, Utah lost and Baylor lost, and they played themselves out of the discussion. The 4-team playoff is perfect for college football. Adding more games is not good for a sport like football. With the BCS, we would have been robbed of a team like Clemson this year would have been out on the outside looking in. The playoff is perfect at 4, and I hope they don't change it to 8.
He was a 3-sport star at his high school in suburban Boston. He played baseball at Boston College, and as a senior, he was the captain of that team. Played some amateur ball thereafter, and got hit by a pitch in 2012 on the wrist. The wrist wasn't healing. He went to the doctors. The doctors told him to come back the next day and bring his parents. Peter Frates had Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS, terminal disease. Undaunted relatively, he got married. He had a child, and he continued on. In 2014, he dared one of his friends to participate in what was called the Cold Water Challenge back then. It went viral. It was rebranded the Ice Bucket Challenge, and Pete Frates became a star in his own right. He was responsible for raising $200 million against the fight of ALS because this stunt, the Ice Bucket Challenge, went viral. Oprah Winfrey took part in it. Former President Bush took part in it. Charlie Sheen did it and kicked in $10,000 to boot. This week, at the age of 34, Peter Frates died of that disease. His immortality will live, however. He was an inspiration to millions, and he left an epitaph that read, "Be passionate, be genuine, be hardworking, and don't ever be afraid to be great. Unfinished Business, presented by Dunkin'. America runs on Dunkin'. Thanks for joining us, Nate. Always good.
Thanks for having me.
Pat Duffy.
That was beautiful, but you followed up a former president with Charlie Sheen. I'm just saying, next time, maybe we flip him around.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us from the Genesee Brew House. We'll see you next week with the Rochester Press Box.